Shalom. Let's bring up today's question. That is a very good question. I'll tell you the truth, is that in our codes of Jewish law, both in the writings of the Rambam and the Mishneh Torah, as well as in the Shulchan Aruch, there are not very clear guidelines as to what is halakha, actual Jewish law, in matters of modesty, of tzniut, especially as it pertains to dress. But that being said, these things depend on generations and on social norms. Much of this depends on the chachamim of that generation and the feelings that they have towards the problems of those generations. But I can tell that regardless of what the halachot are or are not, that this is not really the question that is appropriate for me to answer. In fact, I'm not really certain that men should be answering questions about modesty for women at all. It's strange to me that something which should be modest is done immodestly. What is it, a rabbi's business or any man's business as to how a woman does dress or doesn't dress, and how long something is and how short something is, and how... These are not areas which men should be speaking to women about at all. In fact, it seems like in order to teach modesty, one has to be immodest. And therefore, I cannot answer this question in a modest fashion, and I will just leave it as a very good question. Rabbi Shalom Asas writes in his Shelot V'Tshuvot, in his halachic responsa, when he was asked about a certain question relating to family purity in Morocco. What was the custom of the woman in Morocco? And Rabbi Shalom Asas says that he doesn't know. Because out of the modesty of our mothers, they never came to speak to rabbis about their halachic questions when it came to family purity. That wasn't something that was done. It was considered a breach of modesty to go ask questions concerning modesty to a man, to a rabbi. And therefore what I can recommend to you, my dear viewer, is to take out your phone or your laptop or anything else that you have and send an email to my wife, Rabbi Yonatan Halevy, who is equally competent in answering halachic questions as myself. Her email address is Rabbanit, R-A-B-B-A-N-I-T, at shiviti.org, shiviti.org, and she'll be more than happy to answer your question in a personal way. But if we're already on this topic about things that men should or should not speak about and what rabbis should and should not speak about, perhaps it's a good opportunity to have this conversation. Our rabbis tell us, Hitrachek min ha-ki'ur, umin ha-domelo. Stay away from things that are ugly and anything that is similar to that. I live in a crazy generation. A generation where we're witness to things that I don't know that we never saw before, but we definitely never heard about before. We have rabbis, people that are supposed to be Torah scholars, and in some case, they may even be Torah scholars, that are actually really not good people. When I once asked Rav Peretz what is different about this generation than all other generations, what is different about this night from all other nights, Rav Peretz told me, this is the first generation where we have Torah scholars who have not 1 ounce of Yirat Shamayim. People who know Torah, but have no relation to the Creator who gave it to them. It's a generation where we must teach our daughters. And I'm asking you to teach our daughters and our wives, our children, our students, that no one is exempt from following halakha. Not a rabbi, not a rebbe, not a rosh yeshiva, not a principal, not a teacher. Every Jew in Am Yisrael is obligated to follow the same Shulchan Aruch. The ones that has laws about men and women not being alone together, Hilchot Yichud, Hilchot Negi'ah, about not touching each other. It is inconceivable that we live in a generation where there are people who think, and it could be innocently, that a Talmid Chacham has some kind of leeway to do things which the regular Jew cannot. Shomu Shamayim. The heavens should cry out about such a thing. To the contrary, a Talmid Chacham has to hold himself to a higher standard about these matters than anybody else. You know, when you see a problem in a generation, you must deal with that problem more than in generations that don't have it. When you see such promiscuity, such lewdness, such crimes happening among the children of Am Yisrael. You have to take extra measures, extra precautions, not to be in such situations. When I was a rabbi in Israel, I had the zechut to be teaching boys that I am telling you, when the Geulah comes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be so proud of these children. And I was zocheh, I merited to be in a yeshiva where people were close. Rabbis were friends. We got along with each other. The whole purpose was to teach Torah. And when you become so close over a year, you don't just shake somebody's hand like you're a cold fish. You give them hugs. You give your student a kiss. I'm so proud of you. It's your child. But I remember those days, a terrible Chilul Hashem happened. When there's a rabbi who misused his trust, not in our yeshiva, but in a yeshiva not so far away from us. And upon consulting with my rabbis, I took it upon myself not to hug my students anymore, not to kiss my yeshiva students anymore. Maybe to give a handshake. Harav Peretz, he doesn't even shake hands. Not because we're worried about ourselves, not because we're worried about our students, but because our rabbis told us, hitrachek min haki'ur, stay away from things that are ugly, umin hadomelo, and even things that are similar to that. If we don't go there, we will not go any further. I know it's an uncomfortable topic to discuss, but we must educate our families. We must educate our children. These issues are real. These are human issues. No community, the more religious that it gets, the holier that it gets, no community is exempt from these issues. The Rambam tells us that Torah scholars, in the times of the Talmud, were particular not to be left alone, even with animals. Chaz v'shalom, you think one of the Tanaim, one of the Moraim was going to do something inappropriate with an animal? Hitrachek min haki'ur umin hadomelo. Stay away from things that are ugly and things that are even like it. I was once in a rabbi's office, and the four walls of his office were made out of glass, for the purpose of people can have private conversations. But it was in the middle of the sanctuary, and everybody could see who was in the office at all times. There were no shades. Privacy, but without violating the protocol of halakha. Halakha that meant to keep us safe. Halakha that meant to keep our families safe. And so I ask you a question. How is it that we allow our daughters, that we allow our sisters, that we allow rabbis and teachers to discuss matters that are so intimate, that are so full of purity, of kedusha, of holiness, of tzniut, with such openness, with such brazenness? I'm not asking anyone to be ashamed. I'm simply asking for the proper things to be spoken about with the proper people in the proper forums. You live in a fantastic generation. We have women today who are talmidot chachamot that I stand up for when they come into our room. They're the leaders of our generation as well. They can answer these questions. Like I mentioned to you above, in our community, I fully support my wife and her ability to take care of all these issues appropriately, with a proper kedusha, with a proper sensitivity. And I ask you to remember the teaching of our rabbis. We all need to change the world. And our forefather Avraham Avinu and our foremother Sarah Imenu both decided it was their mission to make the whole world believe in one Hashem. And our rabbis say, Avraham, our forefather, Megayer et ha'anashim, he would convert the men to Judaism. Sarah, our foremother, Megayeret et hanashim, they converted through her, the woman of the Jewish people. When somebody falls in love with Torah, it's not just the Torah they fall in love with, it's the teacher of Torah that they fall in love with. And I'm asking you to remember, HaKadosh Baruch Hu demands from us, V'haya machanecha kadosh, your camp must be holy. And in the spirit of Chachmei Sfarad, we are willing to be lenient about so many things in the Sephardic Jewish tradition. But about the integrity of Tzniut, about the integrity of modesty, being modest. I ask you that if you ever hear a man stand up and tell women about how they should dress or how they should not dress or how they should walk or how they shouldn't walk, please stand up and run away like you run away from fire. I don't care how big his beard is or who his grandfather was or how many rabbinic diplomas he has. Stay away from ki'ul, from something that is ugly. Umin hadomelo. God willing, v'hayam v'chanecha kadosh. Our camp will be holy. When we go out to war against our enemies, which enemies? Our Yetzer Hara, all the things that are with us. Don't be afraid, says Hashem, because I am with you. If you create an environment that I can be with you, Hashem will always be there with you. And the zechut and the merit of Tzniut, true Tzniut, things that should be discussed properly. Not in a YouTube video, not in public, but in private, with the right person, with a person that can be trusted, with a person who has the proper sensitivity to holiness. I am certain that Hashem will reward us with the same way, with blessings in private, with blessings about the things that only we really know that we need, the things that we don't always want to tell everybody else that we need blessings for. In the zechut of our holiness, Hashem should bless us with holiness. Kedoshim to you, be holy, ki kadosh ani, because I, Hashem, your God, am holy. Everyone should have a beautiful day.